Larry Kelly was here.
The Glacier Patrol is one of Switzerland's toughest endurance races over rough and dangerous alpine territory. The race, in 2 stages, starts out in the night from the fashionable alpine resort of Zermatt and finishes over 50 kilometers later in the winter resort of Verbier. This year, 640 patrols of 3 people each took part in the race. Competitors have to run, ski, climb and struggle over 8,000 meters of altitude variation. The race reaches its highest point of 3,650 meters at the Tête Blanche, dipping and rising again twice to around 3,000 meters. The patrols are out to beat the 7-hour, 29-minute and 30-second record set in 1994. Conditions were tough this year because of lack of snow. This meant competitors were forced to walk and run greater distances rather than ski. The army which runs the race is in charge of security and clearing the route of potential avalanches and danger spots.
Obviously, if the snow melts, we come across a lot more obstacles than the stones and rocks we would normally come across. We won't be able to mark them all, but participants will be forced to follow an itinerary which we will establish to get past all these rocks.
Competitors who don't comply will be disqualified. The night was tough. The favorite patrol and record holders were forced out of the race due to illness. And for those who survived the night, the struggles of the day were still to come. The surprise winners of the race were the Swiss Frontier Guards Patrol. They'd trained hard, but even so, it was a struggle.
We do suffer all the same, even though we're in good condition.
The race certainly requires stamina, but it's not just a question of youth. This 82-year-old race veteran came in well ahead of many other competitors.
I'm not trying to beat anyone. Every time I arrive here, it's a victory for myself.
Mr. Moir said he was going to have a small celebration that night with 3 of his wives. This is Jennifer Pagonis of Swiss TV and Radio International for the CNN World Report.
Man from the new Dish Network, bringing Americans everywhere better TV. So, Riverboat Bill, what would you say if I offered you America's top 40 TV channels for just $19.99 a month?
That sounds great.
What if I told you that included a digital picture and CD quality sound? Does that make it a better deal for you?
That sounds great.
And sweetens the ride, doesn't it?
It does.
Make your propeller spin?
Yeah.
Well, that's gotta prove. Better TV comes on a Dish. Dish Network. For subscription information, call 1-800-333-DISH today.
Need some squeegee.
Now there's a global company that can help you reach overseas markets as if they were right next door. A company that can speed packages across the Atlantic or the Pacific for less than you'd probably pay to send them across town. The U.S. Postal Service introduces Global Priority Mail. Around the country and around the world, no one delivers like the U.S. Postal Service.
Dish Man from the new Dish Network, bringing Americans and steel-driving persons everywhere better TV. So, Engineer Kermit, as the master of the miniature railroad, what would you say to America's top 40 TV channels for just $19.99 a month?
I'd say that was about the best deal I'd heard of.
Oh, yeah, and that even includes a digital picture CD sound. And for you, Kermit, the afternoon off. Looks like Kermit's convinced better TV comes on a Dish. Dish Network. For subscription information, call 1-800-333-DISH today.
You step into the postseason with TNT. Now, you must hit the shot, make the play, run the floor, or it's all over. The 1996 NBA playoffs. Over 30 games in 30 nights. The NBA playoffs continue on TNT.
That's it for this edition of CNN World Report.
Join us for a special edition next Sunday when we take a look at rites and rituals around the globe. It can be seen at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for our viewers in the U.S. and Canada.
And our international viewers can join us at the following times for our 1-hour program. 1100 Berlin time, 1430 New Delhi time.
And then later at these times for our full 2-hour show, 1500 Buenos Aires time and 23:30 New Delhi time. We hope you've enjoyed this show this week. For all of us at CNN World Report, thanks for watching. I'm Octavia Nasser.
And I'm Ralph Wainke.
Monday night on Larry King Live, Gloria Vanderbilt's heartbreaking memoir of a son's suicide. Monday night, 9 Eastern on CNN.
Having trouble finding the Cartoon Network in your home? Well, here are 5 easy steps to get you tuned in. 1. Get a TV. 2. Rub your belly and pat your head. 3. Call your cable operator and tell him, "Give me the Cartoon Network." 4. Do a little dance of glee. 5. Tune into the Cartoon Network and admire all the Toon stars. Oh, it's so fun. And if you follow all of these instructions, you too will be having the time of your life soon. So call your cable operator and tune into the best place for cartoons, the Cartoon Network.
It is the source of live breaking news for the entire world. Available to over 500 million people on 6 continents. It's 5 networks backed by 3,000 professionals in 30 bureaus worldwide. It's correspondents, some of the best reporters in the business. From its site on the internet to over 600 global affiliates. It is television's largest and most experienced news-gathering organization. This is CNN.
Weeknights, Bill and John shake things up in Washington. Crossfire on CNN.
Hello, I'm Denise Dillon at the CNN Center in Atlanta. Here's a quick check of our top stories. CNN has obtained a copy of a videotape shot during last month's deadly Israeli shelling of a UN base in South Lebanon. The tape, made by a UN soldier and obtained by Robert Fisk of the London newspaper The Independent, is being used in a United Nations probe of the incident at Qana, Lebanon. About 100 civilian refugees died when Israeli shells hit the base. The video apparently shows what may be an Israeli military drone flying over the base at the time. It also shows what appears to be a shelling pattern. UN sources say the tape contradicts Israel's claim that 2 artillery shells overshot their intended mark and hit the base by accident. But Israel's own investigation concludes that the base was not deliberately targeted.
The moment that they called that they are under shelling, we stopped the bombardment immediately. If we would have do it deliberately, the camp will not be in a situation as you see it on the picture on the right-hand side. It will destroy, totally destroy.
Israel says it was targeting a group of Hezbollah guerrillas firing rockets from a location near the base. Denver police in full riot gear were called in to control a holiday celebration run amok. Police say the city's Cinco de Mayo celebration was in full swing when things got out of hand. Several bottles and rocks were reportedly thrown at officers, and gunshots were reported in an area about a mile west of downtown Denver. Traffic was diverted to try to clear up the gridlock on streets. 15 people were arrested on alcohol-related charges. Your neighborhood is probably a safer place. If it's following the national trend, there's less crime in the U.S. The FBI reports crime fell in all major categories last year. Murder is down 8%, rape 6%, robbery 7%. Law enforcement officials attribute the declines to an increased police presence on American streets. The FBI's semi-annual report showed less crime in all regions of the U.S., especially in big cities. Residents of 3 small villages in New Mexico are out of their homes this hour. A fast-moving fire prompted evacuations in Red River, Llama, and Cuesta, New Mexico. The fire has burned 4,000 acres and is spreading rapidly. A dozen aircraft are bombing the flames with fire retardants and water. The blaze is too fierce and too fast for crews to work it on the ground. Some 400 firefighters are ready to move in as soon as it's safe. I'm Denise Dillon in Atlanta. Now back to CNN Weekend.
NASA tries going green as a way to help keep humans alive and healthy on long space trips. A new library in San Francisco is being built as the most technologically advanced in the world, and we'll check it out. And we'll look at the plight of South Africa's Bushmen. They're trying to keep their ancient traditions and culture from vanishing forever. That's today on Future Watch.
Future Watch, brought to you by IBM.
Hello and welcome to Future Watch. I'm Donna Kelly. The survival of one of the world's oldest, most fascinating cultures may be in jeopardy. The San people of southern Africa, commonly known as Bushmen, are widely believed to be the continent's oldest surviving race. Throughout history, they've maintained a nomadic existence. Pockets of Bushmen still survive in Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa. But Mike Hanna reports that maintaining their traditional way of life is getting harder and harder.
"95-year-old Rehobstan waits for the death that he knows is near. Home for this proud patriarch is a squatter camp on the edge of the Kalahari Desert, and fences now bar his way to the vast expanses of land in which as a youth he hunted and gathered. When I was young, we would wander together through all the land, he says. I wish my children were also able to freely roam. But his children and grandchildren are penned into poverty, trapped in an existence of unemployment, alcohol abuse, and domestic violence. Some of the clan have found work, attracting tourists to a private game lodge. They converse freely with the visitors, offering an insight into another time, another place, and yet always the sense that they exist as museum pieces rather than living people. After the tourists have gone, the old dances are still performed, as well as the songs whose origins stretch back to the time when the first human voice sounded on the subcontinent. My father taught us this music, says Rehobstan's son David. And we share his dream that one day we'll return to our old ways. Farmers now till part of the land on which the Bushmen once lived. They will not move, and argue that the traditional hunting areas of the San lie not on private land, but within the borders of the Kalahari-Gemsbok National Park. The Bushmen have applied to the government for the right to return, but whatever the outcome, some believe, the old ways are lost forever.
They lost their true style, how to live out in the wild, and I personally think it will be dangerous for them to live in the park. They might get caught by lions or something.
But the dream will not be dashed. The skills of the hunter-gatherer are still being passed through the generations. The lessons of survival that Rehobstan learnt are now being taught to his great-grandchild. And as his life ebbs away, the old man says he has no regrets, no bitterness. To be close to the Creator is what makes me most happy, he says. There are no bad things in life, because everything is how the Creator presented it. Words that echo as Rehobstan's coffin is carried through the shifting sands. A vital link with the past is severed as the funeral procession crosses into the park where the old man and his ancestors once hunted. For the patriarch, the dream of going home has been realized, but the generations left behind are still in limbo. And after the burial, they walk back out of the promised land to their shacks on the other side of the fence. At sundown, the last survivors of the Kalahari San gather around the fire as their ancestors have done for thousands of years. While the children play under the stars, the elders talk, keeping alight the old traditions of the past and still hoping that an ancient culture will have its place in the future. Mike Hanna, CNN, South Africa.
Time for us to take a break, but stay tuned. Coming up for you next, a look at experiments that may help make a trip to Mars a reality. And later, the high-tech library of the future opens its doors in San Francisco.
It's a feast instead of just a little portion over here. It's our floors upon floors of the banquet, I guess.
Where's that baby? I brought you a little supper. A little something. It was yummy.
Hey, thanks.
A little goodie.
Good news for anyone who's ever eaten for two.
The same medicine you keep handy for upset stomach and diarrhea also comforts indigestion.
I never knew that.
As Pepto-Bismol coats, it helps strengthen your stomach's protection against too much food and drink.
How's my baby?
Much better things.
When you overdo it, take comfort in Pepto.
On the Rue de Chaison, a minivan meets up with some adventurous souls. In a city by a bay, a Jaguar rendezvous with a resourceful accountant from Des Moines. We're in a simple business here at Budget Car and Truck Rental. It's about joining the right vehicles together with the right individuals all over the world. And when you see people as individuals, it makes a big difference in the way you treat them. Budget, all the difference in the world.
You step into the postseason on TNT and TBS. Now, you must hit the shot, make the play, run the floor, or it's all over. The 1996 NBA playoffs are coming. Over 40 games in 30 nights. The NBA playoffs continue on TNT and TBS.
Log on to CNN Interactive for the latest news, direct from the CNN newsroom. Rated #1 among all basic cable websites. With business from CNN FM, the new financial network from CNN. Sports scores and highlights from Nick and Fred. Fashion and interior design with Elsa. Entertainment news from Lauren and Jim. The whole world of CNN on the World Wide Web. We're here 24 hours a day at CNN.com.
NASA, America's space agency, is growing plants. Now, if that little fact doesn't get your attention, try this. The reason behind NASA's foray into horticulture is its desire to learn how to keep humans alive for long periods in space. Okay, are you thoroughly confused? Here's Lori Waffen-Schmidt to sort it all out with a report on some of the problems that astronauts might face on months-long missions to Mars or the Moon.
Imagine being shut away in a chamber like this for up to a year, living in your own little world. Scientist Nigel Packham hopes it happens to him sometime in the next decade. Last year, Packham, a Lockheed Martin researcher, spent more than 2 weeks cooped up in a chamber the size of a jail cell at NASA's Johnson Space Center. He was all alone with only a bunch of plants for company.
I spent 15 days in a 100-square-foot area to demonstrate the plants can keep me alive by producing my oxygen for me and taking up my carbon dioxide.
NASA scientist Don Henninger says the Advanced Life Support Program, as it's called, is a crucial part of preparing for long trips into space.
We'll have to recycle the water and the air, and even in the cases of long-duration missions to the Moon and Mars, we'll actually have to grow food and recover resources from the solid waste.
Nigel Packham says the plants proved to be responsive roommates during his 15-day mission to nowhere.
When I exercised, they in fact responded within about 10 minutes to provide more oxygen and take up more carbon dioxide. Quite remarkable.
And Packham says there were psychological benefits, too.
It also makes you feel a little bit like you're outside. It smells very different. It's like a breath of fresh air.
NASA is gearing up for another 15-day test, this time with a crew of 4 in a larger chamber. Anything that can be recycled will be, everything from air to shower water to urine.
The second level of the chamber is where we have all of our air revitalization hardware. So these systems remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere that's exhaled by the test subjects. We take the carbon dioxide and split out the oxygen molecule from the carbon dioxide for reuse and breathing.
This bioreactor, as I say, takes all the wastewater and removes all the organic material as it goes up. What you're seeing here are actually microbes or bacteria. May look pretty nasty, but in fact, they're doing a wonderful job microbiologically. This is the water we actually end up with. This is the clean water, which is much, much cleaner than you'll ever drink at home.
A year from now, NASA plans an even longer test, one that'll require 4 people to live in a larger, multi-level chamber like this model for up to 3 months.
How those folks interact is going to be one of the more interesting results of that test.
And when it comes time for the ultimate test, an experiment that'll last a whole year, Nigel Packham says he hopes he's one of those chosen.
Well, actually, it really wasn't as bad as it looks. Once you get over the initial shock when the door is closed, and as long as you're not claustrophobic, I have a window that I can look out on the outside world, and there's always someone out there. So, no, I didn't feel lonely at all.
Packham says this research, though complex, is critical as America prepares for future space missions.
If I really didn't think that we were going to go back to the moon or to Mars, I wouldn't be at my job every day. And I think that's the only way we're going to get there is by actually showing that we can keep people alive for periods of up to a year in chambers like this.
Lori Waffenschmidt, CNN, reporting.
Tomorrow Today appears on CNN's Future Watch and Science and Technology Week. Brought to you by IBM, solutions for a small planet.
Welcome to General Nutrition Centers. Gold Card members, this Tuesday you save 20% off everything. So jot it down. 20% discount savings at GNC. Want a Gold Card? Join at GNC. Gold Card members, see you Tuesday.
News travels fast.
This just into headline news.
What happens there can be seen here, now. That's why people everywhere turn to Headline News. For continuously updated news, business, sports, and entertainment, staying in touch with the world has never been easier. Because it doesn't matter what hour of the day it is, the time for Headline News is always now. Headline News, a CNN network.
The switch is on to CNN FM because you asked for immediate coverage of breaking business news. We delivered. You asked for solid practical advice on personal investing. And we've responded. You asked for no-nonsense coverage of the markets. And we're there. And you asked why business news has to be so dull. It doesn't. I'm Lou Dobbs. Switch to CNN FM. It's not the same old business. It's business unusual.
What happens on this day will set it apart from all others. The unexpected and the extraordinary. Now there's a global newscast that captures it all, not just here at home, but around the world. Watched by millions in nearly 200 countries who together will discover just how remarkable this day has been. Worldview, weeknight 6 Eastern on CNN.
Monday on CNN Talkback Live. Why are more and more kids committing criminal acts? Former Vice President Van Quayle says it all starts with the family. He'll tell you how to get America back on track. Monday, 3 Eastern on CNN.
Say the word library, and what pops into your mind? Books, of course. And now say the phrase 21st century library, and what comes to mind? Chances are it'll strike you that libraries might not just be for books anymore, and of course you'd be right. Here's Fred Wayne with a report on one of America's newest libraries, the new main library in San Francisco, designed for the 21st century, loaded with technology, sensitive to the culture and style of the city it serves.
The first thing that strikes visitors is the light flooding the library's central atrium.
That's actually what I like about it the most, is the natural light.
The next thing is the number of computer terminals. They're everywhere, on every floor of the 7-story building.
We're looking up Wallace Stegner books for quotes.
San Francisco's $137 million library is the most technologically advanced in the world.
As a public library, we wanted to make the information, this revolution in information, accessible to all San Franciscans.
Visitors can surf the internet or watch videos and play CDs in the Audio-Visual Center. Kids explore cyberspace in the Children's Center by using a special catalog divided into 3 age groups. And a first-of-its-kind network of more than 200 so-called walking signs guides visually handicapped people through the building.
5-8 floor, please, R236-585.
And it'll tell you where the elevators are, exits, entrances, you know.
San Francisco's history is preserved in a center with city records dating back more than a century.
We have a historic photograph collection, about 350,000 historic photos of San Francisco before the 1906 earthquake and after.
Along with the high-tech gadgets, the library also has good old-fashioned books. In fact, more than 1 million of them, along with 50,000 government documents of various kinds. The library is home to a gay and lesbian center, the first to be integrated into a major municipal institution from the start. Other centers also reflect the city's diversity. Thousands of people have come to the library in the week since it opened, and applications for library cards are breaking records.
It's a feast instead of just a little portion over here. It's our floors upon floors of like a banquet, I guess, because I love to read.
The new library is expected to feed the hunger for knowledge and information into the 21st century and beyond. Fred Wayne for CNN, San Francisco.
Valedictorian. It's a 250-year-old word that means the student having the highest rank in a graduating class. Traditionally, U.S. high schools have singled out valedictorians for special recognition at graduation time. But that's a tradition that's fading, even disappearing in some places. Robert Vito reports more and more American schools are deciding that officially designating a single student as number one may not be that important anymore.
It is a long-standing tradition. At graduation, a high school honors its valedictorian and salutatorian, the number one and number two academic achievers in the graduating class.
It's my honor to introduce to you Miss Jennifer Vanderquast valedictorian.
But the practice of honoring these young achievers is under fire. About half of all U.S. high schools have stopped or are stopping the competition, according to a national survey of school administrators.
That tense pressure that those kids are in, they shouldn't be.
Critics say the race to be number one or number two in the class pits students against students and is emotionally unhealthy, and they want the honor eliminated. But some students involved in that race disagree.
All right, what else did anybody use?
In this advanced senior English class at Western High School in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, the valedictorian competition is a hot topic.
I think it's ridiculous that people want to eliminate it because it's something good.
The three candidates for the top academic spot at this year's graduation are students in this class: Kiara Bridges, Melissa Droller, and Allison Griffin. All have identical grade point averages and straight A's since they were in grade school. All three say there is no jealousy among them. They're good friends, and they say critics are overreacting.
I mean, I never really, sat down and said, if I'm not valedictorian, I'm going to just kill myself.
But a task force in their school district has formally recommended dropping the race for valedictorian, pointing to the stress the competition causes. These students say that's not realistic.
You go through college, there's a job market. The whole world out there is full of pressure and competition. It's not something you're forced to do, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Western High's principal wants the practice of naming a valedictorian stopped. He agrees with other administrators who say it's unfair to students who don't get academic recognition, but deserve it.
I don't have just one or two really brilliant young people. I have quite a few.
To lessen the pressure on these top students, the principal abruptly called a halt to the race for valedictorian and declared it a tie. All three will graduate valedictorians in Western High's class of 1996. As for the bright young students who will share the honor, they don't mind at all. Robert Vito, CNN, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
We have to step aside for a moment, but don't you go away. Coming up next, the Graffiti Blaster sets its sights on cleaning up urban eyesores.
On the Rue de Chaison, a minivan meets up with some adventurous souls. In a city by a bay, a Jaguar rendezvous with a resourceful accountant from Des Moines. We're in a simple business here at Budget Car and Truck Rental. It's about joining the right vehicles together with the right individuals all over the world. And when you see people as individuals, it makes a big difference in the way you treat them. Budget, all the difference in the world.
Journey to the heart of a mystical land where dinosaurs still exist. Utopia Lost by Alan Dean Foster, a riveting novel of high adventure set in an enchanted land. Now in bookstores everywhere.
Monday night on Larry King Live, the poor little rich girl who fought for happiness and success on her own terms, only to suffer once again a terrible loss. Gloria Vanderbilt, Monday night 9 Eastern on CNN.
Graffiti is a blight affecting urban areas all over the globe. Until now, removal strategies have either been too costly, environmentally unsound, or just plain ineffective. But a new method which uses a laser may offer cities new hope in their battle against graffiti. Susan Reed reports.
Graffiti is not only an eyesore, it's a kick in the pocketbook. Across the United States, it's estimated the cost of cleaning up graffiti is $7 billion a year. In California, the legislature is considering a bill that would ban all spray paint sales unless they're attached to a power source like electricity. Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could just make it disappear, like magic, with no environmentally hazardous residue left behind?
Shutters open. Okay. Laser on.
Well, scientists at Lawrence Livermore Lab have beat their swords into plowshares and turned the weapons of the Cold War, Star Wars lasers, into inventions the public can use. In this case, a graffiti blaster.
I'm directing the beam by tilting this mirror very slightly and making the beam walk across the brick. This is a very large pressure wave which pulverizes the material on the surface. It breaks it off in little pieces and comes off as a dust.
Leaving the surface underneath the graffiti unscarred, which is not possible with sandblasting or spraying baking soda.
It can be faster. It can remove a lot of material quickly. We believe it can be as cheap or cheaper. And it can be environmentally beneficial. It will not have any of the environmental problems that removal graffiti has right now.
But there is one big problem: cost. This demonstration is in the lab. A commercial device would cost about $250,000. Too much even for Los Angeles, where the county spends close to $100 million a year on graffiti removal. Livermore Lab scientists are getting industry involved, hoping to bring the
Waters disappeared.
You're going to do anything to anyone that they ask.
And she's taking a plunge into the unknown.
You're into a whole world you don't understand.
Lorraine Bracco,
I'm going to get my daughter back.
Lifeline.
TCI. More of what you're looking for. Marilyn Monroe was our fantasy. Norma Jean was her reality. You are going to be famous even if it kills me. TCI and HBO Pictures are proud to present Myra Sorvino, Academy Award winner for Woody Allen's Mighty Aphrodite, starring with Ashley Judd from the critically acclaimed Smoke and Heat in Norma Jean and Marilyn, this May on HBO. TCI, you know you've got to watch.